Awesome.
Hi everyone, it's Jenny Dietrich, and I have a very special surprise for you. This person is typically the first person to comment on pretty much every Spin Sucks blog post, and you know that if she's not the first, that something is wrong. So send out the parade, send out the fire department, the police department, everybody, if this person is not the first to comment. Tell us who you are and what you do.
I'm Paula Kiger. I'm also Big Green Pen most everywhere on social media. I do two things right now. I work for Weaving Influence. Yay, visuals. Perfect. I work for Weaving Influence as a social media specialist. We have a site. We help business authors promote their books and their properties. And I coordinate the Lead Change Group, which is a related site owned by Weaving Influence, which deals more with leadership issues. And the other half, or throughout all that, I'm the caregiver for my father-in-law who lives with us.
And how long has your father-in-law been there?
Since June of 2014.
So we were just talking about on the blog that you have some help, which is nice. And some of the things that they are asked to do is light housekeeping, and you said you don't necessarily have a list for them every day. So I'm happy to give you a list.
I'm excited.
Vacuum, dust. I have a whole list for you. So.
Well, the first time one was here, she said, "Where's your mop?" And I gave her this deer in the headlights look.
Mop?
Yeah.
What's a mop?
It's even pre-list. It's that I need.
They need to know where things are.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Totally get that. And tell us about the shirt that you're wearing today.
Oh, do I need to stand up?
You might have to stand up.
Okay. Is that, there's my torso.
I got my clout bump from Spin Sucks.
Yes, and we were just having a conversation about this in the private, I don't know if you saw it yet.
I did.
Blogging class group.
Yeah.
Back in 2013, there were two posts written by Martin Waxman about whether or not clout mattered. And although most of us kind of agreed, I think on balance that it doesn't matter in an overarching way, we decided that we needed to band together and get his clout score to 70. And we had a special little hashtag, and we all got very enthusiastic about getting Martin to 70. And we did. We did, yeah. And this, I think I don't know how many people got these special commemorative T-shirts, which have your signature on them. It may not be showing up in the. Oh, it is. And I don't know where he got that, because that was a complete surprise to me. I was like, oh. Okay, Martin. He's funny. That's really maybe
funny.
we'll start it trending again with this little appearance.
We should. And Andrew's the one who asked too, so we should get him involved as well.
Yeah.
What's the biggest mistake you've made in the last 6 months?
See, this is the challenge of doing this on video. You can't sit and stew.
I know.
Over your answer, darn it. That's a good question. It's always a good question. I think this isn't a huge dramatic thing, but there are little things you do when you work virtually about how you manage your time that add up to things that hurt you as far as productivity and could hurt your employer as far as getting the most out of you. So I think it's a series of continuing to learn how to manage the fact that I don't have a traditional 8 to 5 or 9 to 5 life. Yeah, it's easy to say, well, like sometimes it'll be 10 o'clock at night and I'll be finishing off things. And if I had arranged the day differently, I could have easily knocked out of the way at 11 in the morning and then had my evening to myself and to my family. So even then, a year and a half, over a year since I've been doing this, it's an ongoing adjustment. And it takes a lot of discipline to protect your personal time and your family time. And they deserve it.
It's right there. So if you're like, oh, I'll just jump on there really fast and do it, and it's suddenly an hour and a half or 2 hours has gone by.
Right.
It's been more than a year already since you've done this?
I started with Weaving Influence in October of 2014. So yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man, time flies. That's crazy.
It does.
I remember when you quit the big job. It does not feel like it's been that long. Holy cow.
It doesn't.
Wow. What industry advice or practice would you most like to cry foul on?
Well, the topic du jour, and I've been talking to Laura about doing a guest post about this, is I hate auto DMs on Twitter.
Yes.
I have yet to see one that made me say, this is the best thing I've ever read, or even that I can tolerate. You know, some of them are almost downright hostile.
Yeah.
Like one of them said something like, you need a little more pizzazz in your social media presence. And I'm like, oh, you don't know anything about my pizzazz.
Huh.
One of them recently said, be kind and follow me on Facebook or whatever it was. And I probably would have been kind anyway. I am, but don't tell me to be.
Right.
And since I have 2 Twitter accounts, it's obvious to me. I often follow people at the same time from both accounts. And it's obvious to me that it's an auto DM because I get the 2 auto DMs right after each other, which makes it all the more apparent that it's just a canned, lazy. It really is. And it can't have any return on their investment, or it can't have much.
I can't believe people still do that.
I have tons of examples. I can't wait to write this guest post.
Awesome. I can't wait to what is one of the biggest trends that you're going to use for this year, for 2016?
Trends in like communication stuff?
Yeah.
I've been playing with Periscope.
Which we love, although you're afraid that only your cats will watch, which clearly is not the case.
It's really fun. Well, the cool thing about it is I can be pretty cautious about adopting new things, but I had this opportunity to go to the International Auto Show in Miami as a blogger. And I had just gotten my non-iPhone 4 phone, so I actually had a phone that I could do Periscope on. And I kind of had to do it on the fly. Most of the bloggers who were participating were doing it, were on Periscope or something like that. And I wanted to share it. So I really did not have an audience at the time, but it was great. I mean, what really do I have to lose? I hit play. I didn't even know how to respond to people. I didn't know you're supposed to just talk back to the phone, you know? People were like asking me questions. And I'm like, where do I text back? But now I know.
This is awesome.
So, and then like, yeah, so that's a really fun one to play with, I think.
So you went to the International Auto Show, and you also had a very interesting experience at Cape Canaveral.
I did. I got to go to a NASA social, which is formerly the NASA Tweetups, but it's kind of broader now. And it was all around a planned launch of a supply mission to the International Space Station. And the launch actually did not happen while we were there. It got put off. It was supposed to be on a Thursday night. It ended up on Sunday. So some of the NASA social people stayed around, the people who are local. But a lot of people had flights and stuff. So, but it really was, I love the fact that they brought in people from all different disciplines of life. There were students, there were people who clearly live, breathe, and eat space, who could quote statistics and name missions, and they have whole websites. There was a guy there, I'll give him a little shout out, the Backyard Astronomy guy, who has a whole site. He has his own podcast, wow. So for him, this was completely in his wheelhouse, but I love the fact that they involve people who, like me, who were eager to learn but didn't necessarily have any expertise. And something I think that was really neat about the way they did our prep work is they said, we know you're going to come. We know you're social media people, but don't get so wrapped up in that you don't soak it all in. A lot of times when you do a project like this, you get deliverables, which is to be expected. But the fact that they went out of their way to say, make sure you absorb it and you learn about it, I thought was a really critical piece of the process.
And how smart of them, because that allows you to continue to talk about it beyond that event.
Yes, exactly.
Huh.
Exactly.
What a cool experience.
They have, I think I heard their social media deputy director said they have, I think, 530 different accounts. So the management of all the NASA stuff, and the fact that people might call themselves NASA related, how do you keep integrity? How do you keep the message consistent?
Right.
Is a very, very interesting kind of thing to me. And I don't recall if I said this to you, but he got into it because he was the website guy. And 3 years ago, someone's like, we ought to do something with all this social media stuff. So I thought that was really fascinating. That I've been thinking a lot lately about the fact that, when I started my previous career in 1994, 2004. Social media didn't exist.
Not
and
at all. Yeah.
I fell in love with it 15 years later. It did create a difficult decision point for me because I could not keep two balls up in the air.
Right.
But same for him, I mean, he was one day designing websites and the next he's dealing with people like us.
That's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the one thing about yourself that would surprise most people?
Man.
It's hard because you're on the blog every day, so.
I talk about everything. That I like rap music really surprises people usually. Not the misogynistic stuff, but I like the whole kind of vibe of it. For some reason, it reminds me of living in New York City and being in the Bronx. And I know they're kind of two different things, but there's something about that urban stuff that I just love.
So like who do you like?
There's a guy named, I hope I get it right, or I'm gonna.
Are we talking like Eminem, or are we talking Kanye West, or what are we talking here?
I'm not a big Kanye West fan. There's a guy named, I'm gonna be so embarrassed if I name him the wrong thing. So there's really only one of his songs I'm really familiar with, but E40, he did a song called Choices, and I actually did a blog about it, and I took some of the lyrics, and it was for an HIV awareness day, and it talks about there's a yes and no kind of rhythm of the original song, and it's so dang catchy.
I love it. Me, Taylor Swift, you rap. Okay.
Exactly.
What's the best book you've read in the last 6 months?
I'm on kind of a kick with the Scientologists right now. I read Troublemaker.
You did?
I did, and we had an online kind of Facebook group about it. We didn't actually end up doing a book club. It was called the Troublemaker Book Club. And then I'm reading Going Clear as a result of that, and it's all pretty darn fascinating.
Isn't there's a documentary on that too, right?
There is. I've not seen it.
I haven't either, but I've heard it. So Troublemakers and then Going Clear. I feel like the documentary is something like Going Clear.
It is. That's what it's called. Yeah.
So you have to watch that next.
I know.
What's the latest Netflix binge you've been on?
I don't watch Netflix.
What is wrong with you?
I know. I don't have time. I have to hover over the comment section.
You keep over here and then just keep refreshing over here.
I really want to see Orange is the New Black. I read the book. Yep. The book was great. I volunteer at a women's prison.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm interested in that whole thing. So when I get to do a binge, that'll probably be my first one.
Now that you say that, I'm just reminded of, I think one of the first real interactions that you and I had was when you were looking for books for book club there. When
I did the Language of Flowers was the first one.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. Where can people find you online?
Pretty much Big Green Pen everywhere. Twitter is @BigGreenPen. Instagram is Big Green Pen. My blog is biggreenpen.com. What did I leave out?
Just put in
Big Green Pen on Pinterest, which I know you love. I'm just Paula Kiger on Pinterest.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big Green Pen on Periscope.
Yeah. I love Pinterest. Big fan.
Yeah.
Yay, I'm so happy to see you. We were saying before we started recording that this is the first time we've actually spoken live. It's all
that is really, isn't that crazy?
It is kind of crazy. It is, because it's been years.
Yeah, what a treat.
So I'm very, very happy to see your face.
Yeah, same here.
Love you. Thank you.
You've got a Big Green Pen closer to you than I do right this second. So.
Oh yeah, I have all sorts of them. I have some that you sent me too. Thank you, Paula. See you later.
Absolutely. Bye.